My dad worked the same job for 25 years. In all that time, he never once took a day of leave. Every Sunday night, he'd sit at the kitchen table, notepad, pen, cup of tea going cold, writing out the week ahead. And every Friday, nothing on that list had moved. Not because he wasn't trying, because the system he was using was built for someone with more time than he ever had. If that sounds familiar, even a little, this video is for you. If Sunday night feels like a mix of guilt, dread, and random to-dos popping into your brain, you don't need more hustle. You need a 15-minute reset. By the end of this video, you'll have a simple Sunday ritual that clears your head, protects your week, and takes less time than a cup of tea. I grew up watching my dad come home exhausted. Fixed hours, fixed pay, no margin. He'd walk through the front door and the microwave would go on, reheating whatever was left from dinner. Not because nobody waited, because he was always late. Always one more thing to do at work. Always giving the best of himself to someone else's company. And on Sunday nights, I'd watch him sit at that table, trying to plan, trying to feel like he had some control over what was coming. But by Monday morning, the plan was already broken. A call he didn't expect, a problem someone else created, a week that took over before it started. I swore I'd do things differently, and for years I didn't. I did exactly the same thing. Different table, different notepad, same result. And here's what finally changed, because it wasn't more planning. The problem wasn't that I wasn't planning enough. The problem was that I was planning the wrong things in the wrong way. Most weekly planning advice tells you to do more. More review, more tracking, more color-coded calendars, more time blocking, more Notion pages, more of everything, except the one thing that actually works. Here's the contradiction most people live in. You know Sunday is the right time to prepare, so you try. You open a planner, build a Notion template. You watch a 45-minute video on the perfect weekly review system. You set it all up. And by week 3, you've stopped because the system needed an hour you didn't have and a level of mental clarity that doesn't exist after a full week of work and parenting. The hustle culture version of weekly planning assumes you want to optimize every hour, squeeze maximum output for every slot, track every metric, review every goal. But that's not what most people need on a Sunday night. What most people need is to close the week that just happened and open the one that's coming without feeling crushed by the weight of everything undone. I spent years chasing the perfect planning system, GTD, the getting things done method, time blocking, scheduling every single hour of the day, the 12-week year, a system built on 90-day sprints. I bought the books, built the templates, started the streaks. Every single one collapsed within a month. Not because the systems were bad, because they were designed for someone with no kids, no job, and no life outside the business. Here's the thing nobody in the productivity space wants to admit. More planning doesn't create more clarity. More clarity creates more clarity. And clarity doesn't come from a bigger system. It comes from 3 honest questions asked once a week. The hustle model says, plan more, track more, do more. The anti-hustle model says, clear more, protect more, decide less. And when I stopped trying to plan every hour and started asking 3 simple questions every Sunday, the chaos didn't disappear. But I stopped being controlled by it. Here's what changed. I went from dreading Sunday night to protecting it. Not because I had more time, because 15 minutes of the right questions did more than 2 hours of the wrong system. Quick question before we get into the ritual. What does your Sunday night currently look like? Planned, chaotic, or just avoiding the week ahead? Drop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious how many people feel the same way. Let me show you why most planning systems fail within 3 weeks. You start with energy and good intentions. The system works for a few days. A sick child, an unexpected work problem, a difficult night. You miss the Sunday review, then you miss the Monday check-in. Then the whole system feels too far behind to restart. So you abandon it and tell yourself you're just not a planner. But you're not a planner. You're someone who was handed the wrong size system. I call this the expectation gap. The gap between the organized, structured week you planned on Sunday and the chaotic, interrupted reality that arrived on Monday. That gap doesn't mean planning doesn't work. It means the plan needed more flexibility than the system allowed. The fix is not a better system. The fix is fewer questions that hit harder. A 15-minute ritual that clears last week, protects this week, and leaves you with one clear intention. That's it. 3 parts. Part 1, the brain dump. 5 minutes, that's all. Open your phone notes or grab a piece of paper. Write down everything that is sitting unfinished in your head. Not what's on your task list, what's in your head. The email you meant to send, The conversations you've been avoiding. The idea that keeps showing up at 11 p.m. when you're trying to sleep. Get it out of your head and onto paper. You're not going to action all of it. You're just clearing it. Here's why this matters. Most of the weight you carry into Sunday night isn't from the week ahead. It's from the week behind. Things left open, unresolved, still spinning. The brain dump closes those loops. It tells your brain, I see you. I've written it down. You can let go now. 5 minutes. That's the whole part 1. Part 2 is where most people's planning falls apart. Here's how to fix it in under 5 minutes. Look at your brain dump. Now ask one question. If I could only move 3 things forward this week, what would they be? Not 10, not a full project plan. 3. Circle them. Write them somewhere you'll see them. Phone lock screen, top of your notes, sticky note on the laptop. These 3 things are your week. Everything else is a bonus if it happens. But these 3, they move no matter what. Here's the rule. 1 must be revenue related. 1 must be relationship related, client, partner, or family. And 1 must be something you've been avoiding. That 3rd one is always the most important because the thing you keep avoiding is almost always the thing that would actually change something. Here's what it looks like in my own week. Revenue priority, send 2 follow-ups from last week's async close. Relationship priority, 1 real conversation with my wife that isn't about logistics. Avoiding priority, the video I've been putting off for 10 days. 3 things, that's my whole week. Everything else is a bonus. And here's what makes this different from a normal to-do list. A to-do list tells you everything you should do. 3 priorities tell you what actually matters. When the week falls apart, and it will, you'll know exactly what to protect. Part 3, the weekly intention. 1 sentence. At the end of your 15 minutes, write 1 sentence that answers this question. What kind of week do I want to have? Not what do I want to achieve, what kind of week? For me, it looks like this. A week where I move the business forward without losing my patience at home. Or this. A week where I show up for the work and still show up for the kids. Or simply a focused week or a present week. This isn't soft. This is the most important line you'll write all week because how you intend to show up shapes how you actually show up. Then Thursday comes and everything has gone sideways. That single sentence is the thing you come back to. Not the 47-step system, not the color-coded Notion page. 1 sentence, 1 intention, 1 compass for the whole week. My dad spent 25 years showing up for someone else's agenda. Never a day off. Never a week that was truly his. I can't give him those 25 years back. But I can make sure mine look different. The hustle culture to Sunday night is plan harder, track more, squeeze the week dry. The honest answer is clear your head, protect 3 things, and decide what kind of man you want to be this week. This is not less ambitious. This is more sustainable. I refuse to build a business that costs my family. That means I can't run a planning system that costs me my Sunday. 15 minutes, that's a trade. And it's one I'll make every single week. And if you haven't seen this yet, how to stay consistent in your business even when the week completely falls apart. Not a rigid routine, not a habit tracker, just a simple system built to survive real life. Check that video right here. I'll see you there.